Hi, it's Mel and I just wanted to do a quick August wrap up and September TBR video for you. Unfortunately, I only read 2 books in the month of August. The first book I read in the month of August was The Warrior Heir by Cinder Williams-Chamber. This book is about a boy born into this fantasy world, but he didn't have the right stone in him. So he had to have a surgery to get a stone put in. He should have been a wizard. The doctor put a warrior stone in. But he doesn't know about wizards or warriors, and this book is basically him finding out about it and the family history and the politics. And it's the first fantasy book I've read in a long time, but it's really good, and it's all about this boy Jack, and it's got his friends in, and it's got some romantic stuff, and I think I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, but I'm not quite sure. The second and last book that I read in the month of August is The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. This is a vampire book, and I'm not really into vampires. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the only vampire book I've ever read. This is a society where back a very long time ago there were vampires who were like proper vampires, and they would only do the proper things that proper vampires do. But now in society, after like loads of vampires infected loads of people, there's this big thing about how you go cold when you get bitten by a vampire, and after 88 days, if you don't drink human blood, then you sweat out the infection. But if you do drink human blood, you die and then are born again a vampire. And there are these places called cold towns, which are basically towns, but like prisons, because they're like barricaded and no one can get out and no one could get in. People do get in, obviously, but they have to sign forms. Vampires get sent by bounty hunters when they catch them. They also sometimes come voluntarily. The infected sometimes come voluntarily also, because they don't want to hurt people, because they go kind of crazy when they're cold. And some humans go because they either want to be vampires, they're already ill and are going to die anyway, or they just think it's going to be a good idea, which it's not. And the book focuses around this girl called Tana. She is in this party. It's a party where they're in a barn and they lock all the doors and all the windows as soon as it goes dark until it's dawn, so that the vampires can't get in and there's just loads of humans inside. So Tana's at one of these parties. She wakes up at the very, very first page of the book. She wakes up and she's in a bath because she remembers that she was trying to hide from her ex-boyfriend Aiden. And then as soon as she gets to the kitchen, she realises the sun is too high in the sky for her to be the first one up, but it's really quiet. And then she goes into a room where the TV is playing and realises that there's sleeping vampires there because they sleep during the daytime, and like everyone else at the party is dead, but she was hidden behind the shower curtain, so she's not dead. During the duration of the book, she has this weird thing where when she's in like terrible, terrible danger, she wants to laugh all of the time. It's quite concerning, really. But I did like her. The character Midnight, I am not fond of at all. I mean, I was fond of her, and then I was just like, no. That's the book. And I really enjoyed it, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. So those are the 2 books that I read in August, and then the books that I hope to read this month, if I can get to them. The first book that I hope to finish reading in the month of September is one that I'm currently reading, and is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm not quite sure yet. I kind of was put off by the idea of Russia because I don't like other countries' history in books, because it just confuses me way too much. I think it's a fantasy and the first of a trilogy or a series, yeah, I don't know much about Shadow and Bone. The next 3 books I have to show you were, I think all of them were in my August TBR, but I didn't get to them, obviously, otherwise I would have said that I got to them. The first one is Proxy by Alex London. I was so excited to read this, and then I went to the library, so I couldn't read it that far in. I'm really liking it so far. It's a dystopian book. They live in a different society. The rich kids have proxies. The proxies get punished instead of the rich kids getting punished, and the story follows a proxy called Sid and Knox, who is the guy he's the proxy for. The idea of the story is that Knox kills someone. Like, not just murder, like didn't shoot someone, but he kind of accidentally killed someone. It's explained in the book. So he's gonna get like really punished for Knox's actions. The next one may not be a surprise. It is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. If you do not know what this book / series, Mortal Instrument series, is about, have you been living under a rock? If you need explaining, it's a fantasy series, well, about this girl called Clary, and she meets these fantasy people called shadow hunters, and they put marks on the skin which makes them like invisible or healed. And there's this boy called Jace, and then there's Clary's friend Simon from before she knew about all the fantasy stuff. She can see the shadow hunters even though no other mortal people can see the shadow hunters if they don't want them to. And the next book I have to show you is something that I hope to read before November, even though I don't really think, I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm going to try and make myself read it, which I know isn't the thing to do, but I'm going to really try and read it. And that is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, because I really want to read this before the movie, because I want that experience with one of the Hunger Games books, and this is the 3rd book in the Hunger Games trilogy. If you did not know that, I don't know why you wouldn't, because Hunger Games is kind of a big deal. If you didn't know what the Hunger Games is, which I would be quite concerned if you didn't, it's a dystopian trilogy about a world where America is divided up into districts. There are 12 of them, then there's the capital, and the children from the age, I think, 11 to 16 in the districts are made to put their names in to the Hunger Games, which is where 2 children, a boy and a girl from each district, get sent to fight to the death in an arena, which is lovely. And there's some love stuff, which isn't the point. Katniss is supposed to be a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, but apparently she needs 2. But I read the other 2 during the book tour-a-thon, and I don't need to talk about this anymore. The last book I have to show you was not on any previous one. I've just been looking at it when it's been in my bookshelves because it looks good and I want to get to it, so I don't need to justify myself. It's a book, okay? It's a book. And that is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and I really want to read this, and it has pictures in it and everything, and yeah. So, don't know what this is about apart from like a boy and a monster, and the monster might not even be a monster. I don't even know. I don't think people are talking about what it's actually about. So like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I will see you in my next video if you watch my videos. Bye.